This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
In red, it's Alex, that's me. The Ramble, that's the name of the program, and we're here until midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Stephen Kravitz. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you.
Hey, Alex. Hey, folks.
Nice to see you here on a regular basis.
Yeah, here we go again.
Yeah. How are the... You know, this is... I decided I'm changing the whole show I'm doing from being a show about politics and things like that to a show about all the things that plague us when we get old. Okay? Because
You're going to call it old like me?
No, but the next question I was going to ask you is, how are your new dentures? You know?
I'm getting used to them.
You're getting used to them?
I'm getting used to them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
They're still problematic. I mean, when it comes to eating, it's not easy.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. And can I ask you what your denture adhesive of choice is?
Right now, I just use the CVS brand name one.
Oh, really? A generic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that works. It sticks.
Yeah. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. You don't have denture wobble or anything like that?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. I just see it on the ads. Do your dentures wobble? Try a denture cream or whatever.
Right.
I don't have dentures, so I get implants. All right.
Well, I don't have $75,000 either.
Well, yeah, well, I'll send you $75,000. You'll have a hard time cashing the check, but I'll send you $75,000.
Send me 1,000.
Yeah. I'm dealing with a bank right now, and dealing with banks is, in the old days, it used to be, hey, you know what the bank was? I have this little book, and I go down every week, and I put $5 into my account, and they write the $5 in, and you watched it add up, and finally you had like $50, right? You know? And the bank was really nice to you, and they gave you a lollipop when you left. And,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that. No. Oh, by the way, that account, checking account, the savings account I had, drew 5% interest when I was a kid. 5% interest every year.
Really?
They would give me 5% on the money that was in there. Yay, Alex! Congratulations for saving money. Do you know how much money I had at one point? I think in my savings account, over $50,000. Just not in the savings account, just my general money account, $50,000.
Right.
Okay. What kind of interest do you think I got? Oh no, in the savings account I had more than that. I had $50,000 in the savings account. How much do you think I got a month on that $50,000?
1.5.
Try, what was it? $3.50
Oh, really?
in interest? Yeah. I mean, they don't give you interest anymore. Oh,
no, they don't.
You're so fortunate that we'll hold on to your money for it. What do you mean? I'm giving you money, which I don't have right now, but you do have, and you can invest that in stuff for the bank.
Right. That's right.
You're using my money.
Yes.
And all you can pay me back is $3.50?
Well, Bank of America is the worst.
Well, that's the one I'm with.
I know, they're the worst.
Really? How bad? Worst in what way for you?
Well, years ago, I ended up with Bank of America by default. They kept buying all the banks I was with.
Yeah, okay, that happened with me.
I ended up with Bank of America. And I was waiting on this check so I could pay my bills. And the check came, and I paid my bills, and the Bank of America said that the check didn't clear in time, so they bounced all my utility payments. They bounced all my checks, so it cost me like I think $50 a check that they bounced.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. They're
So I have nothing to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, I got them. Actually, I started out. Was it with Chemical Bank? Who did I start out with here in New York? I can't remember now, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't Bank of America, and the reason I went with them is they had the best, the best policy with checks and cost of, this and that, and whatever. So I just went with that bank, and then all of a sudden one day I get a notification: we've been sold to Bank of America. So I became Bank of America. So
Right, that's how I ended up with Bank of America.
yeah, and are you still with them in spite of all that they did to you?
No.
Who do you bank with now?
I'm with the SAG Federal Credit Union.
Oh, really? SAG?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And you have all your savings and everything in the union. Okay. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
But that might be a good idea. Are they good? Do they do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a very good health plan too until they pulled it out from under us.
Right.
Yeah. But that's
So I listened. I saw Gavnet on my news feed,
on
and I listened, and it was Larry. It was Bubbles
It was Bubbles. Okay.
talking about how he just got himself a new flip phone.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, a flip phone? What year is this, Larry?
Oh, jeez. He had a choice.
That's right. And then they went in the back room and got him a flip phone.
Yeah. They found an old flip phone that was up on the top shelf that nobody wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I told him, why'd you do that? Well, I don't want to break my new phone because I won't like it, and I'll throw it across the room. And Bubbles, come
Right.
on. The only reason he wants a flip phone is he doesn't want to ruin his reputation. He figures he'll have one less comedy routine if he gets rid of the flip phone, right?
Anything for a good joke.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's incorrigible that way. And you may notice that there was no picture of him. I had
There's just a still picture.
a still picture that I animate a little bit with bubbles and stuff on the side.
Right.
But I mean that was the most of it. I mean that was terrible. It's terrible. He just won't. He's incorrigible.
Doesn't he have a laptop?
No. What? Are you kidding me?
Really?
All right. You ready for this? Hold on to your seat. Stick your finger in your sphincter because it is going to make you shit. He has, for his internet service, dial-up.
No.
Yes. They still
Dial-up? I didn't even know they still made that.
They still have dial-up, and he has it.
I didn't even know that existed anymore.
Yeah, he has it. So I mean, go figure.
Last time I had dial-up, I was living in Park La Brea in Los Angeles, and it would take half an hour to get online. You just couldn't get online.
Oh,
Beep, boop, boop.
oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I mean, how long? If he sends me a text, it'll take him an hour for it to go through.
Right.
He answers my email, like I send you an email and I say I'm going to call you at such and such a time or whatever.
Right.
And he gets those mails, so he obviously has some way of picking up his email. But, I mean, he refuses to. I mean, we're not even, when we're talking dial-up, we're not talking technology that's, say, 10, 15 years old. We're talking about something that goes back to 1975.
Dial-up goes back that far?
Oh yeah, or I know I was using it in 1982, I think, something like that. And then I went to a thing called DSL, which was double the speed, And then finally, one day, the internet came along, and I went on to that. And
Right.
I couldn't even conceive of that when it first happened, because they said, well, it's always on. You're always on the internet.
Right.
And I didn't understand that. But now, of course, now I do. But I couldn't
Right.
understand how you didn't have to go into a dial thing. But he's got a technology that's let's see here, 70, let's see, 80, 90, 2000, 2010. He's got 50-year-old technology.
Well, at least it's not 100-year-old technology with Bubs.
And they still make flip phones, but they make.
See, I didn't know that.
Well,
I didn't know
they
that.
make a different kind of flip phone. For people who like that flip idea, they have a phone that will flip, but you still have all your smartphone stuff and all the apps.
Right,
and so on.
Samsung makes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $2,000 for a phone.
Yeah, it actually it folds in the middle,
Right,
and so you open it up and there's the whole screen.
right.
Yeah. So
But I can't justify spending that much money on a phone.
well, I spent what I spend. My phone's about $1,100, but I'm paying for it over time. I pay
Right.
for it every month. So, whatever. So, I was talking to Bubbles. The latest one I guess is going to be on Friday. We talk about technology in general, and I talk about how I've gotten to the point where I kind of hate it.
Right.
I probably have not known anybody as much into technology as I was at the time that you knew me back when.
Right.
I was all into technology, and every new little bell and whistle that came along,
You had to have it.
when they first put the iPhone out, I dreamt about it in my dreams.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This idea of a phone that would do all the things the iPhone did, it'll make calls and take pictures. Now what they...
Yeah, now though, they're just selling a camera that has a phone attached to it.
That's basically it. Yeah. They don't even...
You're getting a $1,000 camera and a $100 phone.
You know what they don't mention is the thing that I use the phone for the most, which is listening to music when I'm walking down the street. They don't say anything about, hey, we've just improved the music. There's nothing about the fact that it's also an iPod,
Right.
Look at the pictures it'll take, and it'll do slow motion, and it's and I go,
Right.
great. I'm a photographer. I love to do video. It's a great little device to have with you when you don't have your camera. Blah 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 blah. But come on, does it make a call?
Right. Can I make a call and can I answer a call?
Yeah, exactly. That's all I care about. Damn it.
And I don't like text messages.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst. I've got this one guy, I don't have to get text messages from him, but I get Facebook messages from him. And my Facebook messages come out on my watch.
Oh, really?
Okay? So what he does is he literally sends texts one word at a time. Hi, next message. Alex, next message. Hal, next message. And it keeps going off on my wrist. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm going, I finally had to ban him from my Facebook messaging. He can't message me anymore. It's just too annoying.
How'd you do that?
Oh, you just go on there and say you block him. You can block someone,
Right.
But anyway, so back to your dentures. No, it's old people talk. How are your dentures? They fitting well? You doing
Yes.
okay with them? Yeah. How else is your health? Is your rest of your health okay?
Yeah, my health is good.
Yeah, my health sucks.
What do you mean?
Well, people don't want to hear this one more time, but I fell. I took a fall onto the sidewalk, and I thought, I got a cut here, and
You fell on your face?
I guess no. I think I fell on my hand, which was my face hit my hand. Whatever. Anyway,
But you fell face first.
Yeah, my hand has been killing me since a week ago Monday, and it's still hurting. Wake up every morning, it's hurting.
Did you have it checked out?
No, because it all works, but it just hurts. And I think I may have bruised the tendon or something like that. They say
Probably.
they say that that's what happens. So I've been suffering with that. I can't pick up a cup of coffee. I have to do
Well,
it
you have
both
two
hands.
hands, Alex.
I know. Well, you know something? I'm so left-handed, rather right-handed.
Right, you're right-handed.
I'm so right-handed that my left I can't do a lot with. If I had to pick up coffee, it's kind of clumsy for me.
Right, no, I get you.
So
It's not comfortable.
Why does it have to be this hand? This was my favorite hand. All right? I did everything from drinking coffee to jerking off with it.
Well, thank you.
I mean, but that's the hand that kept me in business for years. And that
And kept you sane.
and kept me sane. And so why does it have to be that hand? Why couldn't I have landed on this hand? Why? Because I'm so right-centric that,
Right, because your right hand is so dominant, that's the one you put out.
I used it to
Break your fall.
break my fall. Yeah. Somebody said you should tuck and roll, but I have no idea how you do that when you fall.
You'd end up breaking your back.
Yeah, I'd do something else. The shoulder would be gone, something.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You don't want to tuck and roll on the cement.
Right. So I'm now I haven't been out in God, I don't know how long. I'm afraid to walk. I'm afraid to walk down the street. I'm afraid to take another fall. So anyway, there it is. My paw is do like
A clamp.
dog. Do like a dog. So anything new in your career?
No, in fact, would you like to manage me?
Oh, sure. You want me as a manager. Look how well look how well my career is going.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't even manage myself. I mean, I have.
No, I want to get back in the game. I just don't know how to go about it anymore.
It's funny. Yeah, if you're not in the front, if you're not inside any longer, to be outside trying to get back in is as hard as the first time you tried to get back in.
Right.
I mean, you probably have to go through the same process again. You may get through it faster because you're already adept at what you're doing.
Right.
But still, you got to play the small clubs, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do that. And in my case, I got to find a radio station that will take a guy my age, which is impossible. So that's why I'm doing the internet, because it's my only real outlet. So, and plus my business.
Really, you don't think a radio station would take a chance on you?
No. To begin with, the question is how many radio stations actually have jobs? A lot of times
Right. It's all automated.
They take all the syndicated crap and everything. So unless you're one of about 5 guys doing syndication, you're not working.
Right.
And locally, I mean, they see me coming in the door, and it's the old guy walking in the door.
Right.
Well,
that's like, I mean, these days, just to get on open mics, you have to send them a tape. And how can you send them a tape if you don't have any stage time?
Well, you do what was that guy in the King of Comedy? What was the name of the main character? You do a Rupert Pupkin. What you do is you go down to your basement, you set up a false set, and then you put up a fake brick wall, or maybe you have a brick wall somewhere, and do your comedy act. And then send it to me, and I'll add a laugh track. But I mean, in my case, I remember I went over to WOR here in New York after I got dumped by Sirius XM, and so they gave me a shift, and then a friend of mine who knows them called them and said, "Well, how'd he do?" And here's the term they used. This means he's old, and we don't want him because he's old. The term was, he's a real pro. I'm a real pro, huh? What does that mean exactly?
That doesn't mean anything.
It means I'm so old that I really learned the craft, but we don't have anything here for an old pro. We want some amateur to come in here and get a job. It's just that the hiring of what I did for a living doesn't exist anymore. Okay, to be honest with you. And that,
Really?
yeah. I mean, what you do, still there's a calling for. There's still a club somewhere that wants a bunch of comics on Friday night to stand up there and make people laugh so they can
Right.
sell drinks. All right?
That's right. We're nothing more than glorified liquor salesmen.
In my case, they have no need for me. They have no need for me. I have a friend who named Walter Sabo occasionally does this show, and Walter was one of the major radio consultants. A job that no longer exists. Radio consultant.
Really?
Well, in those days, you had like 10 radio stations, and they were all competing with each other for the audience, right?
Right.
So
for the same dollar.
So in order to do right that way, what they would do is they would say, okay, we have to compete. So what do we get? Let's get, I hear Walter Sabo's a great consultant. Let him come in and tell us what we should do and how we should do it. But today, they don't have that kind of competition anymore. Somebody like iHeart will own 7 stations in the market, and they've got their own consultant in-house. What do they need?
Right.
What do they need, Walter for? So Walter had to go into doing on-the-air stuff, what little he could do. So his profession is like antiquated, doesn't exist. And if it does, who knows who knows if they're working, so.
And the DJs don't do much anymore. I mean, they talk a little bit, but, all the songs are on carts, everything's automated.
Yeah, and also, so far as talk show hosts are concerned, they only want right-wingers. They don't.
Yeah, why is that?
I have no idea. Except that we could argue that corporations own the radio stations, and the corporations would be pro right-wing.
Right.
I mean, that's just the only thing I can think of. Because
I used to listen to Larry Elder out of L.A., who's conservative right-wing, and I used to just get so angry at what he said. Half the fun of listening to it was to get pissed off.
Well, that's what happened. You see, right-wing stations do better than left-wing stations because right-wingers will never listen to a left-wing radio station. But left-wingers will listen to a right-wing radio station for exactly the reason you stated, so they can get pissed off and yell at their radio.
Right. Right.
So it's a lose-lose situation for the lefties. All right.
Yeah, no kidding.
One time there was this guy who was in charge of all what was then Cap Cities. I can't remember what chain it was. He did, was the head of talk. And he told somebody once, well, no, talk radio means right-wing talk. Talk radio means right-wing. He defined it as right-wing radio.
It's either right-wing or it's sports.
Well, sports is the other big one that you can do that will make you some
money.
And now, of course, you're going to make a fortune doing sports because why? There are 20 competing betting apps out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they're all competing. And in New York, for instance, we get the ads like crazy because we just legalized it. Okay? So you've got FanDuel, you've got MGM, you've got, Bally's Casino, this
you've got
and that thing.
DraftKings.
Yep, exactly. And so
it goes on and on.
You just have a sports station, you're lined up all day with nothing but ads from these guys.
Right.
So it's a good business to be in right now. Unlike the business we're in, which is basically out of work. I wish I were a stand-up because at least maybe I could try and do it somewhere,
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find a space where I can do it.
Yeah, but I can't do it, It's not
in the cards for you.
It's not in the cards for me. But, So anyway, you look like you're doing okay. It looks like you're in good spirits.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I decided that I was not going to make this bummer. I was going to try to be as entertaining as possible for your show.
Well, you certainly have been, my friend.
Thank you.
And we can't say where you're playing, so hopefully you'll talk with us next week, huh?
Yes.
That's our favorite person practically in the whole world, Stephen Kravitz, who's going to come down now and visit me in New York and spend some time so we can just have long
hang
talks
out
and long walks in the park. Isn't that right?
Long romantic walks in the park.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Bye, people.
This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Well, I don't know what the story is, but nobody's waiting to go on tonight. This happened last week, and I thought it had to do with the Final Four or whatever that whole basketball thing is that they're doing. And then I suddenly realized tonight there is no game, so nobody has an excuse not to call me. Okay, but if I don't get a call in a couple of minutes, that's it for tonight, and maybe forever. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. You know, I come out here, I try to do the best possible show I can do. I mean, considering my complete lack of talent, and then when people don't call, I kind of feel insulted. All right, but you know, I just don't I don't understand it, to be honest with you. So anyway, be that as it may, let me see here. I want to announce something so that you know about it. I have just put up I was doing this Life in the Passing Lane for years, the story of my life, one episode at a time. Okay. And I was doing it constantly, and I did about 67 episodes, and then all of a sudden I stopped because it was kind of the end of my life at that point. Boy, for some reason this is stalling a little bit. Well, anyway, so it was a real problem. I mean, it wasn't a problem. I did 67 episodes. Okay. And then I didn't do any more, and then all of a sudden I got cancer. So I did 2 episodes called I Got Cancer 1 and I Got Cancer 2, okay? But I never got around to doing I Got Cancer 3. And the reason I didn't get around to doing I Got Cancer 3 was because I didn't feel the story was finished. I didn't know exactly what it was. I didn't want to say, hey, you know, it looks good, and then have to come back and do more. But since I finally, as of Monday or Tuesday, got the final word that, I still don't have it, I figured it was time to tell the rest of the story. So it's up, okay? I've Got Cancer 3 and Beyond, it's called. And you can find it on the what do you call it, page, on our GABNet page. You can also find all the old episodes also on that page as well. And we'll keep this one up for a couple of days over on the left-hand side. Then down the middle is the actual every episode that there is, and you can go to that. Okay, so anyway, that's how it's shelling itself out. Anyway, we have a new Life in the Passing Lane. 70 episodes I did. That's a total of 35 hours of unbeatable entertainment. Yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why we're a little bit off, but what we'll do is we do have the 2 people waiting to talk to me, so we'll go to it. Let me see here. Let me admit all. That would be Brian Neary and Alan. Okay. See how I freeze up when things are just. It's funny. I've got to get a new machine or something. Like I can afford it. But they do have new Apple computers out now that are much more powerful than this one that I have, and they're not that much. They're only about $2,000. So, hey, and look who's here as well. Somebody who has been missing in action for a while, but he's back now. And it's Kevin. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, Alex. Let me turn off my mute.
Yeah. Oh, Adrian just walked in like.
Yeah, remember Kevin? Look at our buddy Kevin. Okay. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Say hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Say hi, Alan.
Hi, Alex.
Okay. Say bye. Say bye, Gracie. Okay, I have to check homework. Hold on, I'll be back.
You have to check homework?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I thought that was a teacher's job. You know? Anyway. So there's...
Got to make sure it's good so she gets a good grade.
Yeah. How's it?
I don't help her much. In fact, she does extra stuff for the teacher, like drawing and the writing stuff. So she's really good. I don't like helping her.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, we just went to an art show for my daughter.
Oh, really? Oh, son of a bitch. Good. Okay, so are you smart, Adrian? Oh, well, she can't hear me right now. He's got. Oh, wait a minute. What did we do? We lost. We lost Alan. Are you getting really smart, Adrian?
Yeah.
How smart are you? This much? No, this much.
Okay, Kevin, we'll see him soon. Okay, and Alex. Maybe we'll go surprise Alex one day. Okay,
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Okay.
That was my fault. I hit the wrong
Yeah.
button.
Boy, that he's a good dad. You know, he really is.
Hey, how you been, Kevin? Long time no see.
Yeah.
All right. Hanging in there.
How you feeling? Good? Okay?
Yeah.
As best you can.
Best you can.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
in case people don't know, Kevin's mother passed, and
Sorry to hear that.
huh? And that's his lame excuse for not coming on this show for the last couple of weeks.
I know. I just, what are you going to do?
That is
Reading-
always the
reading
roughest.
takes a while.
It's always the roughest thing. Losing a parent is always difficult. But every one of us, most of us, have two that we see pass.
Yeah, I lost my dad 22 years ago, and now mom, and I feel like a freaking orphan at 65 years old. It's weird.
You are an orphan.
Yeah.
I'm an orphan too. Join the orphans club.
I'm the oldest one, so now I'm the next one in line, I guess.
But nobody ever says, "Hey, you guys are orphans." Nobody thinks of it that way. Whoops.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Weird, circle of life, I guess, She lived a long life, she's less than 30 days from her 91st, so.
Wow.
Tough one, but,
My mother was about 3 months away from her 101st.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
She lived, when she died, I didn't really cry a lot. I didn't feel sad because, come on. If I feel sad, how many people lose their parents when they're in their 50s? I have my mother
that's what I kept thinking about. People and this war going on. You look at that, and I seen that going on. I'm crying for more of them people than I am for my mom. It's like crazy.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's
not really, but
No, but you look at a situation like that, and then you say, okay, I'm very sad she died, but she was in fact, 90 years old plus, and you had her for a long time.
Yep.
So
lucky.
You would have liked to have had her around for the next 50 years, but
right.
that wasn't going to be.
We know that ain't happening.
Yeah. So last night I called Jack's show for a couple of minutes, which is always a mistake I make. and I called Jack's show last night, and at some point he made some kind of joke about, well, you'll be long dead before I am. Ooh. And I'm going, I'm sorry.
I heard that and I went, whoa, how do you know?
Yeah, to begin with, I have less medical problems than he does. Okay. But secondly, I have this great fear of death, and I was upset by that. And if he had been here, I would have slapped him.
Yeah, right on.
I would have slapped him.
Pull the Will Smith on him, huh?
I would have done a Will Smith on his ass, But anyway, I thought about it, and I went, if that's his perception of me, and I just got great news, that I passed my latest PSA test, so.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got word from Phil. He passed his PSA test too.
Oh, good.
Zero. No detectable PSA.
See, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying slowly or painfully.
Yeah. My father always said that if he was going to die, he wanted to die being hit by a Mack truck. Just really
Some
fast.
people survive that though.
Well,
end up crippled or whatever.
And with tread marks on their chest. It's terrible. But my father, he died of a pituitary tumor, and I think it took him about a week to go. And it was kind of painful, but at least it was fast, so. But, and then my mother outlived him by 30 some odd years, He was 59, and she was 100, almost 101. So think of it, they were about 30 years apart, in death. And usually now your father died when, Kevin?
Week after 9/11.
Week after 9/11. Okay.
A week after 9/11, which was a week after his birthday.
Usually, when people die, their mate goes very short time after them.
That's true. My mother went less than 2 years.
Yeah. There's just something about all of a sudden, you're missing the one you love.
She kept talking about him, Alex, when he died.
Yeah.
She was a little lost. Like every night she used to bring him up to you. What do you think? I miss your father. And she used to always tell me stories. I kind of felt bad for her,
Well, I'm sure you felt bad for her. What do you mean I kind of felt bad for her?
Because when I used to walk by the room, she used to say her prayers. I actually miss certain things she used to do. Like at night, she would say her prayers.
She missed my dad, but fuck her.
No, but then then you know what she said one night? I figured, she goes, I want you to have this of your father. Do you remember? She used to tell me stories, but I remember when I was small. Like I don't know if you want to hear the story once. You want to hear this? It's quick.
Not really, no.
All right, forget it. It's kind of funny though.
No, not really. Well, okay, go ahead. Make it quick.
All right. Well, I was my mother's little baby, so I used to repeat everything. Yeah. So I was probably like, my brother said I was like maybe 5 or 6 at the time. Mm-hmm. So my father was on the phone with his older brother, Tommy. Mm-hmm. And I guess Tommy, he was a womanizer. He always had different girlfriends. He was all over the place. So I was there eavesdropping by my father on the phone. He didn't want my mother to hear, I guess. But I was 5 or 6, so I didn't know. So my father said, like, Tommy must have said to him, oh, she's got a hot box. So I said, oh, Ma, I said, Daddy's on the phone with Tommy. I ran in the kitchen. She's got a hot box. And my mother's like, what are you talking about? Leo, come inside. He says, my mother's like, what's going on? And she says, Anthony's repeating what you're saying. He says, go in your room. My brother told me that story. I kept running around in the kitchen telling her. She got mad. She's cooked your own dinner.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. Because I was repeating it. I thought I was a little reporter. I used to go in.
You said something, though. He was a womanizer.
Well, he dated a lot of women, Tommy.
Well, what's wrong with being a womanizer? I mean,
he was married at the time.
Womanizer is a bad term.
He was married.
He was popular with the ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah, he was.
Isn't that nice?
But he had 2 kids and a wife. They used to fight like crazy.
Oh, was he married at the time?
Yeah, but then my brother said he was older than me at the time. I didn't know. My older brother knew more. I guess at the time she was dating and he was dating, so they just stayed together until they broke up.
Yeah,
I used to repeat everything.
That's one thing I miss about my mom. My mom passed away when I was 13, but I miss her now because, with Adrian growing up like this.
Yeah.
Adrian growing up like this, that I don't know how I was as a kid. I have a lot of pictures because she really took pictures of all our events, all our family stuff, birthdays and everything, and everyday stuff. But I missed to hear her, see like, oh, that's how you used to be or something like that. Yeah. Like crazy.
My mother got to see my niece grow up, so yeah, I miss a lot of things about her though now. You're right, Alex. As you get older, you start missing things on certain days.
Adrian could be a model, and she could be a model for those ads that say, you can feed a hungry child or you can turn the page.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
She's got like a nice, she's very vibrant when you can see she's full of life.
Yeah, she's got a good. I think part of the reason is she's got a great dad.
Yeah, they're good though.
And you can tell she adores him. You know.
Yeah.
That's like my sister was with my dad.
What's she saying to you?
Oh, I put her last name on the thing. She doesn't need her last name. You think you're like Madonna? You just have one name?
She's attached to Brian. That's like I was with my mother. Everywhere she goes, she probably follows you, Brian, right?
That is one adorable kid. I got to tell you, Brian, you are so lucky. You know,
she could have. That's why I no more, man. I don't want to risk it.
She could have turned. She could have turned out to be ugly as hell, but no.
Enjoy her while she's adorable. Believe me.
Okay, if she's ugly as hell, she's gonna be tall as hell. She'll beat them all up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is she gonna be tall?
Yeah. She's taller than 98% of the kids her age.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still spelled wrong. Erase it and go do it again.
Would she spell her last name wrong?
No, thoughtful. She forgot the T.
Thoughtful. Okay.
Yeah, I guess she tells me, she says some of the kids can't even read in her class, and she reads like nonstop, like out loud. So she's doing really good.
Yeah. Well, you got her. You started teaching her reading before she even went to school, right?
Yeah, spelling and reading. Yeah, and in the car we play games, rhyming games and spelling games and all these things nonstop. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's really great. You're good. You for a guy
Shows
who became a father late in years, later in life.
Yeah, 48. I was 48.
You've turned into a pretty damn good father.
Yeah, I should add 10.
Huh?
No.
Yeah.
Just the one.
Now let's go over to Kevin, and he'll tell you what happens when they get older. What happens, Kevin?
No, the boy right now. Oh my gosh.
Well, the girl has the girl things too. So. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay, you're done. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Shut the door gently, please.
Yeah, I had 2 girls.
Huh? You got 2 girls.
2 girls.
What happens when they get to be like, right now she's how old? She's 6? 5, 6?
6 and the other was 14.
Yeah. Now what happens, Kevin, when they get to be, what's the next terrible times? They say they're like the terrible 2s.
Now.
Huh?
Mine's 17 now, and I know nothing, and she knows everything.
Well, of course, it's
and
true.
she's a scholar. She's straight A's. She's doing everything that Adrian was doing when she was young.
Yeah. So I guess she can call you.
It's a typical teenager.
I think she can call you stupid and has bragging rights, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like I was teaching her how to drive. I drove truck for 31 years, and I know nothing.
You driving a big truck.
Yeah. And she'll tell me how I drive and how I'm supposed to drive.
Really?
Talk too loud because he's right next door.
Yeah. Well,
and then, every 28 days.
Oh, yeah.
When it's new, it's hell.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you got 2 girls, you say?
Yeah, the other one's 31. 32.
Oh, okay. But if they lived together, they would synchronize, and your life would really be a living hell.
What's that?
If they were living in the same house together, they would synchronize, and your life would be a living hell.
Yeah.
I've
got a lot of estrogen around me.
Yeah.
And have had for a long time.
Can you spray for that?
No.
There's
There's an anti-spray that goes around. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, do you get to feel, we're all guys here, okay? If a woman wants to call, please call. But we don't get many women calling this program.
Only on Wednesday night does Phil call.
Oh, he got the steakhouse. He put me pictures.
No, I mean it's cool. I learn a lot from it, but
I got a great thing.
A lot of ups and downs. Believe me.
They say they challenge you.
They do.
Challenge. They say I didn't go through that. When my mom passed away, my stepfather, they just got married, and he left. He was like with his girlfriends and left me home alone. So I didn't really even go through that with parents. But he is just challenging. And so I took his phone away finally. And mommy's grabbing the phone back today from me and wants to give it back to him. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He doesn't need a phone. He can submit his homework. I'll give you the phone. You can submit the homework. but he just challenges, and he knows he can get away with stuff, and
so she is not the tough one in the house. You are
not the tough one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she makes me the tough one because I put our foot down, and then
Yeah, but I mean, that's got to be difficult because biologically he's not your son.
Right.
So you've got to somehow round him up and tell him what to do and not do, and he can think, well, he's not really my biological dad. Why is he telling me what to do?
And I had that issue in the reverse.
What?
My ex remarried, and I had my kids coming to me saying, well, he's telling me I got to do this and I got to do that, and I had to be the interference with the new dad.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter would come to me and say, well, he touched me and he hit me.
Ooh,
I had to go to him and say, no, you don't do that.
These are my kids.
I'll take care of that part of it on the weekends or whatever. You just tell me what's going on. And I got along with him real well.
Yeah.
He got killed about 4 or 5 years ago in a truck accident. He was a truck driver too, so we got along real well. But he got killed in a truck accident. Yeah. And it was hard on those two kids too. But I had the same issue. She would come to me and say, well, he told me to do this and told me to do that. And I got to go over there and negotiate that. And then they'd come over here, on the weekends and all that stuff. So,
yeah, their father passed away about 5 years ago also.
Yeah.
From colon cancer.
Oh, really? How old was he?
He was 50 something, but he didn't go to the hospital for nothing until all of a sudden he was dying. So
we never had the colonoscopy.
Yeah, and that's hard on them too. I mean, you can't. Oh, yeah. That's really hard.
If I don't see the doctor once a month,
Yeah, my grandfather's really good.
What is it? Let's talk about this as guys. Are there any other guys that want to join this conversation? Go over to gabnet.net, and on the right-hand side of the page it says Zoom. Just click on that. You'll automatically get here. Anyway.
Get some women in here.
Guys are, I think, having a rough time these days. We're always at fault for everything. We're always not completely sensitive. I mean, we're always accused of all kinds of things. And then you've got this on top of it, you just gotta, I don't know what the point is I'm trying to make here, but,
You gotta bite your tongue a lot.
You gotta bite your tongue a lot, yeah. I mean, how many of you guys here, who have girlfriends or wife or whatever, 2 of you have a wife, Tony has nobody. He's lonely.
I have 2 dogs. I don't know if
he has 2. Yeah, fine.
And they run me all over. Yeah. They know I'm smart.
And do you have a girlfriend at all, Alan? I've never asked you, actually.
Yes.
How many times when you get into a fight with your mate, and we all do, okay, it's not impossible because, hey, you're together all the time and you're going to get on each other's nerves every now and then.
Right.
But when you get into a fight with your opposite, who gives in first and says, I'm sorry?
I do.
Okay. And why do we say it? Because we want him to shut up.
Yep.
That's the reason why. We know that saying, okay, it's my fault. Nope. And we don't have any pride in saying that we're right. Okay?
You would say you're sorry even though you didn't think you were probably right?
Oh, yeah.
I fall on the sword all the time.
All the time. Rather
with
than
my girlfriend, with my mother, it's just easier.
You just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
There's also the they never apologize, but then they're nice to you all of a sudden.
Bingo.
That's what I get.
Yeah. You apologize and they go harumph, and then about a half hour later they're all friendly and everything like that. But guys would rather say I'm sorry and put the whole argument aside and get it over with than have to live with it,
Yep.
And it's not for sex or anything else. We'll get that anyway, But I mean, it's just what were you going to say? What were you going to say there?
No, I was just going to say you're right. We'll get it anyhow. We have a right hand.
Well, yeah, we always have alternatives, but so do they, by the way.
Absolutely.
which is usually the milkman. You know, is there any such thing as a milkman anymore? Did I just make a
the Amazon delivery guy?
Oh, the
Amazon delivery guy. No, wait a minute. Does anybody deliver milk any longer?
I don't think so.
Remember, there used to be. Does anybody here remember Milkman?
We used to have a mailbox in the front that was like a milk mailbox. My grandmother had it as a kid. It was like,
then you had this little fan-like thing, and you would put up the things
box,
that you wanted of what you wanted. You know.
Now they'd steal the milk in Queens. I guarantee you. She was in. I got to run out for my Amazon.
So I guess people just go to the store and buy milk now. They don't. You know, they don't have the delivery. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gone. What else is gone? The postman is almost gone.
Oh, I like the postman now. I still like getting mail.
Well, most of what I get in the mail, most of what I get in the mail now are just, circulars and various banks of mine who don't want to really tell me how much money I have. They just want to sell me on something.
Give you a credit card.
Things like that. It's been a long time since I've gotten credit card offers, though. They go, look how old he is. It doesn't matter,
Yeah, you should max them out.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of them and just max them out, and then just pay the minimum payment. You have nobody who's going to collect. You don't have kids. There's nobody they're going to collect it from.
8 hours since I got one.
8 hours.
It's been an hour since
I don't even open them anymore. I just put them in the shredder.
Yeah.
I rip them up. Exactly.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The one thing, the guys also are supposedly not very much into going to doctors. Guys will do everything they have to do to not go to a doctor. My wife, it's her social life. If I say to her, what doctors are you seeing this week? She has at least 2 of them she's seeing that week.
Wow.
And sometimes it's nothing. Oh, I have to go to my dermatologist this week. Why? I don't know. I have to go to my dermatologist. It's better than staying at home with you.
Oh, God.
And now I've got this new situation where, as of today, it's not unemployed. She's employed, but she doesn't have to come into work, okay? And they're paying her 25% of what she was making. So basically, I think we like to think of it as they're just being nice to her. For the next 2 years, she gets 25% wages. And she's going to be home every day now.
The rest of your life.
For the rest of... Well,
every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Gosh, you're right.
Boy, you make that sound so pleasant, Brian.
No, it's very pleasant. I'm looking forward to it.
Smile. Don't forget to smile.
Every minute of it. No, I mean, it's a whole new thing for us. Although I had a hint of it because we spent a year and a half during COVID without her going to work and doing all her work from home. So I'm used to not having her around, or having her around rather all the time. And we didn't kill each other. We got along fine. And this is a big enough apartment. If we don't want to talk to each other, she goes into the living room and I go into the guest room, and we could go all day without seeing each other, So, how about you, Jack?
Well, I was listening to this conversation, and I thought it was very, very interesting because I've had some thoughts about all of this stuff. And I think one of the reasons why men acquiesce so readily is women take fights way more seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they hold grudges.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with the fact that women don't grow up playing team sports, where you have wins, you have losses, you get mad at your opponent, and then the next day you're buddies again.
Did you play team sports?
Yeah, I played a little.
I didn't play any ever.
Well, I tried playing football and a couple other things.
Did you play sports, Tony?
Yeah, I played basketball a lot, and I played football. I played tackle football a little bit. That's how I hurt my shoulder playing football one time. But I miss playing basketball. I used to play it at least once a week at the Y.
How about you, Alan? Sports at all?
Soccer.
Oh.
Soccer.
When I was in high school.
Yeah. Really? How are your knees?
Well, between soccer and getting in and out of a car with 50 pounds of weight around you and fighting people all the time, they're in horrible shape. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, well, and when I was in San Francisco, I had a lady I knew who, when she was in high school, played soccer. She was a very big soccer player. Well, I mean, she wasn't big; she was tiny. But the thing about soccer is, I'm told it's the one sport where you don't have to be big in order to play it and be successful at it. And her knee. Well, let me finish the story. The story. And her knees were shot. That woman, by the way, was Nicole Boxer, Barbara Boxer's daughter.
Wow.
Yeah. But she had been really a big player in high school, and it just trashed her knees, no end. So
I thought it would be easier to play soccer than football.
Yeah.
In football, you got a lot more padding. When you get kicked in soccer, it hurts.
How about you, Kevin? You play sports?
Yep, a lot of.
Oh, really? A lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I played basketball, baseball, every year from 7th grade all the way to the sophomore in high school when I was playing football, and then I got knocked on my ass and messed up my back real bad. Then I was playing softball. That's how I ended up screwing up my leg.
Yeah, so tell me, are the injuries that you have today that have caused you so much trouble from playing sports when you were in high school?
No, I broke my leg playing softball when I was older. Mm-hmm. I was playing softball for 25 years, probably 5 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on weekends too.
How about you,
Brian?
Yes. How about you, Mandy?
Mandy. I was 6'4". I was 6'4" in junior high school, so I played basketball. Yes. But around the neighborhood, I played everything. We played sports in my front yard, all of us in the front street, and then like Tony was saying, my mom pulled up coming from work. She would pull up. Man, I was mama's boy. Whenever we're playing, I drop and I go into the kitchen and listen to her talk about her day.
Wow.
Yeah. But basketball. And my knees are fine. I used to snap. I still do sort of crack my knees all the time. And I thought when I was young, I'm going to have bad knees, but it's been pretty good.
I was big into swimming, and I wanted to be on the swimming team, but I wasn't fast enough, so I became a manager of the swimming team, which meant I got
towel boy.
Yeah. But I mean, if there was any sport that I engaged in on a regular basis, it was swimming.
I did some of that too.
Huh?
I did some of that too.
Probably one of the best things you can do. It's really good
on your joints. It's easy on your joints.
Well, it's a non-impact sport.
Good cardio too.
Yeah, good cardio, everything. And swimmers always. You ever know swimmers had a swimmer's body? They got this swimmer's body where the trunk was like long, But anyway.
What about the hair? I had a lot of friends in swimming team, and they all had that like bleached glow green hair.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbors down the street were swimmers, and they were water polo. And they were heavy into swimming, and they used to shave everything. They shaved their chest, they shaved their legs, they shaved their bits, and they had hair that was real slick. And they strived through high school when their dad was into swimming, and you go watch them go down the street, and they just kind of slid down the street.
What everybody says to me, well, Alex, now that you don't have a prostate problem, or at least for now, knock on wood, what are you going to complain about now?
What do you got here?
Well, the hand's still killing me.
Oh, how is the hand, Alex? Any better?
I still can't jerk off with it. It's still.
You're going to have to go over and help him, Tony.
Yeah.
Gotta get some occupational therapy there.
But the thing that is bothering me today is my arm, is killing me.
You got to go to
Because
the doctor.
right here, I got my COVID shot yesterday. My 4th COVID shot.
You know, did you get Pfizer or Moderna, Alex?
Moderna.
I got Pfizer. They changed the formula, not the part that protects you, but the carrier got changed a little bit, and they said people are expected to have a sore arm for 2 or 3 days with it. Well, guess what?
Well, they may have changed it in Moderna too.
They might have. I didn't follow that.
Yeah, no, my arm. The last time I did it, it hurt me maybe the same day. Maybe
Yeah,
a little
same
bit the
here.
next day.
My
but
arm still
today,
hurts.
But today it's
I
still
got the
hurts.
shot yesterday morning, and
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard they were testing the 6G now on you guys.
the 6G.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to the 5G chips that they've been putting in us.
They're making sure that the 6G is going to work, so want to test it on people. See if it's interfering with the airplanes.
That's right. That's right.
So, what do you think about what's happening? Nothing much in the new in the Ukraine, except that they're still beating the pits off of
Donald Trump
Russians.
still doesn't believe there's a war going on. He's asking Putin for favors.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden. I mean, please. The Republicans even outraged by that.
Well, there has been a continual investigation into Hunter Biden.
I understand.
And I'm fine. Let it happen. If they don't find anything, good. And if they find something, take care of it.
Unlike Trump, you notice Biden's not getting in the way.
Yeah, no, of course not. He's not getting on the air every day and saying, the fake news is saying my son blah, 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 blah. He's not doing any of that. He's pretty good about it. But that's about all he's good at.
He's avoiding. He's letting it go its own way, and unlike Donald Trump. So
yeah. Well, what is it? Jimmy Kimmel said the other night. He said they asked the president's press secretary about did the president have any opinion on what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock, and he said the answer was no, the president isn't up that late. He's got his teeth in the glass before 8 o'clock. He is. Is he looking awfully doddering?
Nah. No more so than some guys we've had in the White House before him.
Oh, really? Like who?
Well, remember what Reagan looked like towards the end?
Well, Reagan, yeah, but Reagan actually had Alzheimer's in his second term. But they weren't forthcoming to the public about it, and that's how it turned out.
Was it Nancy running the show by then?
Nancy was running the country. Yeah.
And Nancy's astrologist.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The astrologer was helping her too.
Oh my God.
Why do we get these wacko presidents? How do they ever sneak in under the transom?
Well, it's pretty easy the way our system operates.
And how exactly is that?
Well, back when we were younger, Alex, these political parties.
I can't remember when I was younger.
Well, I'll remind you of it. And I'll send you an email.
To me, younger was yesterday. Yeah.
Well, back before we went to the grand primary system.
Yeah.
These guys and gals would go off somewhere, meet in a quiet, smoke-filled room, and pick somebody to run for the office from their party.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew who the players were. They knew who the duds were. So I think we got a better candidate, and we perhaps got a better executive officer.
To begin with, there were no primaries.
Yeah, there were no primaries.
Yeah.
Except for a couple of states.
Yeah.
So it was coming from, the candidates were coming from the people who knew them in the party.
Yeah.
And knew who the heavy hitters were.
Yeah, but there were no primaries, and that was good. I don't know why we do primaries, and I don't know why the parties shouldn't have to pay for them, because it is only there to serve their function, so that they can say, okay, here's our nominee. Okay, we've had our little election. They should have to pay the cost of the primaries, and they don't. They just don't.
Well, you see, you got to remember there's nothing in U.S. statute law in the Constitution about these parties. And we forget that they are like private clubs. But they fake us out that they're supposed to be there.
Well, if
fathers were opposed to that.
If we had a truly great system, we'd have maybe 5 parties that were important, that were part of the game plan, okay? But the fact that we only have 2, I mean, and then what those 2 become is pretty much the same thing, with just varying shades of gray. So
Well, come the revolution. Oh, wait a minute. I can't say that.
What revolution?
The one we thought we were having in 67, 68, that you and I thought was going to change everything.
I want another civil war. I want those. Here's the big mistake we made back in Lincoln's time when these states said we're seceding from the Union. We should have said we're better off. Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on the
where the Union split you.
Yeah.
Now I think Texas and Florida can become their own country, and we'd be a lot better off.
Well, Texas was its own country at one time. Texas did not become a part of the Union until, I'm going to say 1843 or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And still under the agreement that brought Texas into the Union, they can leave. That is still in the Texas Constitution and in statute law in the country. Texas can say, we're out of here.
Should Puerto Rico be a state?
Definitely. And so should Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe even Guam.
Here today, Guam tomorrow.
He didn't say that.
I've always heard it here today, gone to Maui. Something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so anyway, Jack, you might be happy to know that this drug that I take is making me kind of lose my stability. I have some trouble walking and trying to come up with names. I forget names, and last night I forgot a name on your show.
Which drug is this?
Pregabalin.
The one you were trying to get me on.
Yeah, no. What I should say is I don't remember the name of it. Okay, but anyway, it
must be okay, Alex. Because in the past 3 months you've only fallen down once. Jack's hit the ground 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but I've been on what I've been on for years, and they cut me way back on the dosage.
Here we go. Welcome to the old people's club.
But let me tell you what I got coming up starting next week. I have gotten not signed up, but I've gotten a new doctor who's going to try to treat
Dr. Vinny Boomba.
Dr.
Vinny Boomba.
No, Dr. John, the night tripper. He's going to try to treat me using sonic waves and some sort of low intensity laser treatments.
Really?
Try to get my nerves to regenerate.
Really? Well, if it works, let me know, and I'll go find a doctor who will do it here.
I know one person that's had 8 of the treatments, and this guy, older than me, and I think maybe a year older than you, and was on a walker because of balance problems, and he's back using a cane.
Well, I think the problems with my balance is because of the drug I'm taking. It does destabilize you, So
is that the red infra waves?
I think it is. I see him.
I did those. I did that on my legs for quite a while.
Did it work at all?
I think it did, but I got the neuropathy, so I think it regenerated some of the nerves. But with neuropathy, you don't feel it, but I think it regenerated some of the nerves to, helped something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I was told was it's going to take perhaps 6 months for me to see some real improvement.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to take a chance on that.
Well,
I'm tired of pulling it down.
it's not going to hurt, you know.
No.
No. Doesn't hurt.
But I'm just tired of forgetting things and so on, which is what this drug does. And I'm thinking of stopping it. But if I stop it, then I start getting the neuropathy back badly.
Why don't you ask the doctor for an alternative?
There is an alternative, gabapentin, and I didn't tolerate that at all. That was terrible.
I couldn't tolerate either one of those.
And I was on gabapentin at
12 years old.
1,200 units.
Milligrams.
12 milligrams a day.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was crazy.
Really?
And was it hard to get off of when they backed you off?
No,
of
they scaled me back to 600, and I'm a little shaky, but at least I'm not falling down.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just I.
How about taking half your pill, Alex? Can you do that, or
you can't take half the pill because they're capsules.
Like, can't you get are they 20 milligram capsules?
I think that every drug that they make should be in pill form, not in capsule form. And I
thought they have a pill form, because I thought mine were pill. I can't remember, it was so long ago. I thought there was a pill form.
Really? I'll have to look it up, because if there is a pill form, that's what I'm going to ask my doctor for. Because then I can cut them in half,
Yeah.
You could always take the capsule apart and dump part out, but that's not.
Yeah, it's just not accurate, though.
Yeah, not very scientific.
Yeah.
We did that in the MDMA days.
And look at Tony.
You added more, didn't you?
You get a dollar bill and you roll it up.
Yeah.
Look at Tony. Look at Tony, the young punk here, who just is going, I can't get in on this conversation.
Young whippersnapper.
Yeah.
I'm just listening.
Hey, can I ask Brian Neary a question?
Sure.
Brian Neary, can you reveal yet what you are getting?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I didn't hear it. I want to know what you got.
Wait a minute, getting? Yeah. What is it?
It was a little scale car of another McLaren.
He pulled a Ronnie.
Oh, I was going to say,
I did a pre April Fool's Day joke.
He said, "What are you getting?" And I thought, "What, gonorrhea? What? But
no, I put on Facebook that my bonus I got a new toy, and then I got a little toy.
Well, I collect those miniature cars, and I'm surrounded by some of my favorites every night when I do this program.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, this is my latest. Let me hold it up, see if anybody recognizes what it is.
Yeah, the Mini
Cooper.
Yeah.
Original one.
Now, you don't take them out of the package, right?
No, that spoils the collectability.
See, that's what I think is so stupid. If I bought a toy like that, I'd buy it to play with it.
Of course.
Ask Tony. You don't do that.
I know, but I mean what good is a comic? What's a good comic book if you can't read it?
That's right.
Okay. Oh, I bought this comic book. It's worth $500, but I'm not taking it out of the plastic.
Nice enough to send me comic books, no wrappers on them, and I love them and I read them.
I gotta send you some more. I gotta send you a good novel.
He's sending you comic books?
Yeah, he sent me like a dozen of them.
I sent him a whole bunch.
Brand new, the Avengers.
What is the
Spider-Man?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Girl.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you. What is the price on those these days? How much?
Which book?
How much do one of those books run?
Like the True.
Well, here's Daredevil. It says on it $3 US.
Yeah, that probably quick, but I probably got it for less because I subscribe, so they give me I'll put it.
Yeah. Oh wait a minute. Here we go. Look at Kevin. He's got one. What are you blowing on it for?
I love toys.
Why are you blowing on it, Brian? Not Brian, Kevin.
It's got a lot of dust on it.
Oh.
It needs to be cleaned.
Hey, look at this one. What?
I used to have penny races. My mother used to buy me. You put a penny in
but what fun is it in a box, for crying out loud? Oh, I'm getting it to collect it.
When I was a kid, I opened all my toys.
I'm getting to leave it to my grandson.
Expensive one. It's only $4.99. I like this a lot, Tony.
Well, that's a good story. You should read that.
I like it. I've read it. I like this.
Now, does your grandson like toy cars like that?
Oh yeah.
I don't have a grandson.
He's 7 years old, 8 years old, and when he comes down from Minnesota, we get down on the kitchen table and we play cars, man.
Not on the floor, do you?
Play cars.
Down on the floor, I won't get back up.
Not at my age. I'll never get back up.
That's what we did. We went over to a friend's house, knocked on the door. Can Dale play cars?
Yeah.
We brought our cars and we played out in the dirt and stuff like that. That's what we did. Yeah.
And we used to have a kid that lived next door to us who was also, he was a little younger than my grandson, and he was already into collecting Hot Wheels and Johnny Lightning.
See, when I was a kid, all we had were things like Lincoln Logs and Tonka toys and erector sets.
That's because cars had not been developed yet.
What?
I hate to tell you how collectible Tonka toys are.
Really?
Yeah. Tonka toys are hot.
Oh yeah.
Collectibles.
Mm.
And there's some toys that we had as kids that are now going for thousands of dollars.
Really?
I have boxes of them in the garage. I was going to give them away.
Oh hell no!
But are they in their original packaging?
Yeah, are they in the original box?
Of course not. Only a sissy would leave it in its original packaging.
Right, exactly. So it's probably worth about 30 cents each. It's guys like Tony who've made it bad for the rest of us. What I decided is that I made a big mistake when I was a kid. Every toy that I got that I loved, I should have bought another one and put it away.
Yeah.
And played with one of them.
Yeah, who knew?
Jack's saving these things in the plastic things because they're going to go up in value, but they're not going to. It's not going to matter to him. He's not going to sell it. He's not going to be around when it's worth. I'm assuming. I'm not making an assumption. I'm just saying that I don't think you're going to be around when the toy goes up.
I am leaving these for my grandson.
Right. Which he'll open them up and play with them.
Maybe not. He is much more careful with his belongings than I ever was with mine. He's already learned the value of things.
Life.
Wow. Yeah. Amazon had this on sale for the original retro version from the 60s. And I think in this game, if you get divorced, you lose money at the end. I'm not sure. I got to read the rules.
You lose everything. Lose money.
Each kid pay for how many kids you got?
That's bull crap that you lose the game. You lose everything.
X amount for each kid. I know it's a deduction.
Hey, Tony, I have
Must be the California version.
Tony, I've become a fan of a particular DC comic hero, and I want your opinion since you're the expert on these things. I'm a fan of The Question.
Oh, that's the Steve Ditko character you're talking about. Yeah. I never really read him. But I know that was Ditko's one of his last creations.
I thought The Question sucked.
I don't think it was one of his better ones, so to tell you the truth. I don't know much about it, but it wasn't really not that popular, though.
Well, he was in broadcasting.
The Question. I remember I think that was a Charlton comic. I don't know if that was a DC. Yeah, I can check that.
Well, I
think the only ones I ever seen were DC published.
Well, I told you that I was the MC of a comic book award show years ago here in town.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, Alex, I used your James Bond question on someone today, who considered himself a James Bond.
And he couldn't answer it.
Couldn't answer.
Yeah, which one? The question about
which one was released as a movie before it was done as a
Thunderball?
Yeah.
Well, what was a screenplay before it was a book?
Yeah, screenplay before it was a book. Yeah.
Yeah. The mistake I made with you last night is I said that Brian Keith played James Bond on Climax. It was actually Barry Nelson.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he was the first ever James Bond. And he was Jimmy Bond.
Jimmy Bond.
Yeah, and I went and looked it up last night, and it is on YouTube.
What was that, about 1955, 56, something like that?
55, I think, 54. Yeah. And Peter Lorre is Le Chiffre. And it was, it was very cool. But I mean, he was the first James Bond ever. So.
Well, he was Jimmy Bond.
He was Jimmy Bond, yeah. But anyway, so anyway, we've got our world is really strange, I mean, we had this whole thing with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and you say to yourself, with all that's going on in the world, isn't that awfully trivial? I mean, that it was replacing news about about Ukraine on the newscasts, and every little iteration of it. Like last night, Chris Rock appeared on stage for the first time, and all he said was, "Well, what did you do this weekend?" And that was the only real line. And then he said, "I'm not going to talk about it right now," and blah 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 blah. And that was it. On every newscast, they've got the same story. He didn't say much of anything. Well, then it isn't news, Yeah,
they expected him to say something, and
Well, I mean, he took the high road. He took the high road.
Let's see if it continues.
That's good for him. I mean, the thing I think that is kind of interesting is that brought it all out. I don't know if you saw what Brian. I know you commented. I read that thing that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote, and he brought out every different aspect of that whole thing. Right. That was pretty interesting. He brought out every different angle that you could think of, and it was really good.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I've said, and nobody seems to bring up, the distance between Will Smith and Chris Rock, between where he was sitting and where Chris Rock was standing, was I think I counted it. It was like 15 steps or less.
Yeah.
And if they had the old seating arrangement, he would have never gone up on stage.
Yeah.
He would have just yelled at him from the seat, "Stop talking about my wife."
Well, and think about it, in a comedy club, that's probably what you're up against.
Yeah. But I mean, all I'm saying,
steps to the comedy, and what's to stop somebody from going up there and hitting somebody at the improv or something like that?
But all I'm saying is that nobody anywhere is talking about the fact that the way they staged it is one of the things that caused the problem. And also,
and the fact that they asked them to leave and nobody went out there and forced them to leave.
They had an alternative shot of that whole thing, and when Smith came back to sit down, she looks at him and is laughing.
If Chris Rock had been hurt, seriously hurt, LAPD was in there and they could have arrested him.
Yeah.
They would have fell down like that, God forbid, just from getting hit.
Well,
not everybody falls down when they get hit.
Oh, but you know what I was thinking also was if Will Smith went like that, you can see, look at Chris Rock, just didn't think he was going to hit him at all. So that's why he just sort of stayed there.
Yeah.
But what if he would have moved back and Will Smith would have missed him?
Yeah.
I mean, what is Will Smith going to do?
You're going to take another swipe?
Beat him up? I know. Take another swipe at him. They're going to start fighting in the middle of there? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, first of all, Smith was laughing, and then his wife looked at him.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Oh shit, I better do something."
Yeah.
Well, he's the most pussy-whipped man in America, because you could tell the reason he went up there is because his wife gave him the stink eye and said, "How dare you laugh at those jokes?"
Exactly.
But
you don't know.
That ain't the first time he's done that either.
What'd you say?
You don't know black women about their hair. That is serious business.
Oh, it is?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then why wasn't she wearing a wig?
Exactly.
Why was he laughing in the first place if he knows that? Why was he laughing in the first place if he knows that?
A few weeks earlier, she was doing videos on YouTube saying how proud she was of her bald head.
I'll bet Chris Rock comes to his senses and has him charged and sues him.
Well, I think he's taking the high road. Anyway, hey, listen, you got to go, Jack.
Yeah, let me get out of here. Intersection up next. Catch you in a minute.
Okay. And Brian Neary, good talking to you. Good to see you back, Kevin. And I'm glad your spirits are a little better than they were the last time I was talking to you.
Yeah.
Alan, thank you. Thank you, Tony. And thank you to everybody. If you want to, give a big wave goodbye. I don't think Jack is knowing how to end this. Oh, there he goes. Okay, let's wave goodbye, everybody. Okay, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, that's our show for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow evening. Jack is next with the Intersection. Be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.